Egypt is one of America's closest allies. Our taxpayers send them more direct funding for their military than we send almost any other nation in the world. But here's what happens to political opponents of the Egyptian regime when they get arrested, and they get arrested at a dizzying rate and get sent to the infamous Torah prison. Arrivals there are blindfolded and then are forced to run through a human corridor of guards who pummel them with sticks until they collapse. Following this initiation for political prisoners, many of them are routinely beaten and tortured for months or years on end, often with no formal charges being filed. Some never make it out alive. Human rights groups estimate that there are around 60,000 political prisoners in Egypt. I get it that big numbers sometimes lose their meaning in this place. But by comparison, estimates are that Russia has 420. China likely has around 1,000. Egypt locks up 60,000 political opponents of the regime. To keep up with the demand of President el-Sisi's imprisonment spree, the country has had to build 60 new detention centers over the last decade. These prisons house some of the country's most prominent human rights defenders, journalists, opposition leaders, but also just ordinary people who are locked up for years because they just attended a protest, or they liked a Facebook post, or they recorded a TikTok video. A group of Egyptian human rights organizations submitted a list of 2,954 known political prisoners to the government's Presidential Pardon Committee earlier this year. These are people that should not be in jail. They simply protested the government. And if you're going to be an ally of the United States, you shouldn't be locking people up for political speech. But of those 2,954 detainees, the government released 49. That's not clear and consistent progress. We also sent a signal to the Egyptians by withholding some of that money last year. And while we didn't see significant improvements, we did see some political prisoners released. This year, we have to keep the pressure up. And for that reason, I would urge the administration to withhold the full $300 million as called for by the Appropriations Act until Egypt's record gets better.